I guess I didn't really have like a ton of expectations going in. Like really my goal was like, don't crash, have fun, try to learn some stuff. I think people see like, another pro trying something for the first time and hope my goal is to inspire other people and be like, oh, well, I don't normally do this discipline, but like maybe I will give it a shot. Like I don't have to be a pro in this discipline to try it. You know what I mean?
From KOM Cycling and Michigan Midpack Media, welcome to the Dirty Chain Podcast, the podcast that covers the cycling scene from the viewpoint of the Michigan Midpack. I am your host, Trevor, and on this episode, pro cyclist Ashton Lambie. Referred to by Bicycling Magazine as the most interesting bike racer in America, Ashton is an incredibly accomplished and diverse athlete. Famous, of course, for his track cycling success and his recent sub-4-minute world record in the 4,000-meter individual pursuit. Ashton also has a history in gravel cycling, winning Unbound 100 in 2019. I was pretty fortunate to run into Ashton a couple weeks ago at the Sea Otter Classic in Northern California, where he and 60-ish other elite cyclists embarked on the first race of the Life Time Grand Prix series, a series of 6 gravel and mountain bike races spreading throughout the 2022 season. And while on this episode, Ashton and I talk a little bit about his past track cycling success, I was more interested in what he was currently doing with the Lifetime series and his motivation behind embarking on a full season of off-road racing. So, speaking of Sea Otter, man, oh man, it's been a busy few weeks. Right off the heels of Barry-Roubaix, I did another huge gravel race in Saranac, Michigan, huge as in distance, the Dirty 130. And then immediately I feel like I jumped on a plane and went to Sea Otter with KOM Cycling. It was pretty fantastic, to say the least. If you haven't been there, like, what an amazing area. The vibe was incredible. Ashton and I kind of get into this on the episode, but I did have a chance to race, and you'll have to listen on to get the whole story of my race. But I was a bit out of my comfort zone. I'll just say that. And I will continue down this path of out of my comfort zone. This weekend, I head to Tennessee for the Cohutta 100. It will be my first 100-mile mountain bike race. I have really no idea what to expect besides that there will be a lot of climbing. The course is super climby, and it'll be a pretty long day. But I'm excited to get down there and put my new Santa Cruz Blur through the paces and see what happens. So stay tuned for that. I'm sure I'll talk about it more in the next episode. But for now, the man that quite possibly made mustaches famous in cycling, Mr. Ashton Lambie.
How's it going?
It's good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well.
Oh, I just finished a Zwift race. I'm like almost with it. Fuck, man.
Are you doing because they don't have the Premier League this time around, right?
I'm actually not good enough to race Premier League. I'm on a team.
Okay.
I'll be like totally honest. I also just like don't really have the motive. Like I race in community leagues, so it's like the A division,
right?
You know, like sort of the junior. It's like a bowling league kind of. But yeah, that's I do the A1 league, and we've got that this year, for this season. But it's also like since there is no Premier League, all the Premier League guys are racing community league, so it's kind of like Premier Light. Like, dude, it's so much harder than last season. Holy shit.
No, like I usually, I think I was doing A2 or A3 last season, and that's kind of like right where I need to be. I think they moved us up to A2, or like the team I was on, they scrapped their A3 just because they needed a bigger pool of A riders to pull from for each week. But yeah, I've experienced that a little bit too. I haven't raced this season yet, but I remember that from last year where they didn't have a Premier League on one of the seasons, and it just was like insane.
It's so, dude, I mean, I feel like A1 is about where I'm at. Just like I put out a lot of watts, but I also weigh quite a bit. And so like we did the temple climb today in Maruki Islands.
Yep.
And oh my God, dude.
It's like gravel, right? It's the gravel one.
Yeah. Dude, I like everyone just walked away from me. I was just like,
oh, man. Okay,
cool. I'm like 75, 80 kilos. Like, I'm not going up this in 5 minutes, man.
Man, I hate that climb is ridiculous. It's funny. My brother races with me, but for this season, he's racing on a different team because of his schedule, and he's racing at like 5:30 in the morning, which means like you have to be on the bike by 5 a.m. and it's like a learning curve for him, I'm sure. But he mentioned the same thing. I think he made it to the base of that climb, and then it was just like, see you later.
Yeah, bye. This is fun. Well, and it's like I feel like our team actually does a really good job. We've got some really good like logistics guys that or like that DS races for us.
Yeah.
That normally do a good job, like just because we've got so much experience on our team that they're like, okay, this is, here's this sprint. We've got FTS. It's about this long. If you have this power up, you should go for it. Like, dude, the guys are just super organized, which makes it really fun. And then I feel like, if you're someone who doesn't race a ton, you learn a lot just from being in those races. Yeah,
I can't get over how detailed those races can get. And
it's huge. It's massive.
I used to just go into it and just like, I'll try to hold on as long as I can. But when you get into a good team that is, super experienced, you realize there's so much more tactics and things to worry about. And it makes it more fun for sure, I think.
It's fun when you can be a part of like a team and a cohesive plan too. Like I really like that. Where it's like, oh, okay, your job is to do this or help this person out this way. And like, I do really well with that. Where it's like, okay, you're a part of this bigger goal and this is your tiny role. And I'm like, great, cool. Thank you. I can do that. Like, instead of like, here's the entire race, do what you can to try and win it. And I'm like, oh, well, that could be a whole bunch of different things,
Yeah, definitely. And then you get into like the weeds of like you said, like you're a bigger rider, you're not a climber. So it's like, okay, let's make sure the climber gets to the base of the climb, and doesn't have to do a lot of work before that. Or if you're a sprinter, like let's get these intermediate sprints and get those points. Yeah, it's
get those FTS points. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
man. Actually, I've been feeling pretty unmotivated about Zwift, and I think it's just because the weather's getting nicer, and I've been riding outside a little bit, and I've just been not wanting to. I mean, I'm one of the biggest Zwift advocates there is, but lately I've just been like, I don't know if I want to get on the bike and do that. But now, like, I'm kind of getting pumped just talking about it.
Honestly, man. I mean, I know a lot of people talk shit on Houston for not having great riding. I think Houston has awesome riding, but I love like. Dude, Zwift is such a good way to break it up, and just to really get like some good kind of unstructured intensity in. Man, I love it. I race pretty much year round.
That's so cool. Do you live in Houston now? Is that your home base?
Yeah. So my partner got a job at NASA, so we moved down here.
You don't have to make up stories. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, dude, it's cool.
That's really cool. That's amazing. Are you cool just starting? I mean, I just like to kind of start off. Do you mind if I like keep all this Zwift talk in the conversation and everything?
No, you can keep it in. Yeah, easy.
That's awesome. Listen, I want to go in on this saying that you're probably going to get a lot of questions from me that you've talked about or have been asked before. So if you don't mind,
totally fine.
Okay. I'm sure it's like the same questions get asked a lot because when people from the outside look at you as a rider, as a cyclist, I think there's some interesting things happening, and like one is Zwift. I mean, and it's kind of like you're a very diverse rider. So we're talking about Zwift and your track cycling background, and now this whole. I know that you've had a lot of gravel experience in the past, but now you're really diving into it. So yeah, I think that's super fascinating. There's a lot of people that do different types of riding, but I think you in particular, I see really kind of diversifying mostly. And but anyways, yeah, like I'm stoked to talk to you. It's cool to run into you at Sea Otter. Have you ever been to Sea Otter before?
No. So Sea Otter was like, I used to work at a shop, Sunflower Outdoor and Bike, which is this kind of gravel famous shop in Lawrence, Kansas. And I was always bummed that I never got to go to Interbike when that was around.
Oh, right.
And yeah, so I never got to go to any trade shows or anything like Sea Otter or Outer Bike or Winter Bike, like stuff like that. So this is my first time going to Sea Otter, but also first time going to any trade show ever. So I was super, super excited.
It was kind of, I'm going to say a little overwhelming. I mean, I was expecting it to be big and like, whatever, but I couldn't believe the amount of people, but like some of the build outs that those like Specialized would have, or like Canyon, or whoever, they would have like,
yeah, dude, I was at the SRAM tent for most of it, and it was just like, they're like, oh yeah, we have 100 staff here, and they had like a little mini building. I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah, it was insane. And also, I felt a little out of place not being a mountain biker, because it seemed like kind of a mountain biker's paradise a little bit.
I think you're right. I kind of got that sense too, where it was like, oh, there's like all these enduro guys riding around with like full face helmets and goggles. Yep. And I was like, I don't do that. I've got ankle socks here, guy. Like,
yeah, but it was, I mean, I didn't feel like not a part of things. It just was like, yeah, I was like, whoa, this is a different world. But at the same time, I couldn't believe, like, there was dudes riding around on like road bikes with rim brakes still. I was like, apparently the rim brake isn't dead in California.
Yeah, there's a little bit of everything there.
Yeah. I was thinking like probably the weather, like if you don't have a ton of rain, you can still get away with rim brakes, or I don't know, but maybe the road scene is different in California than it is in Michigan where we are. So, yeah, it was pretty cool. I definitely enjoyed it. Yeah, so you raced. I actually raced on Sunday, the same course.
Did you do the gravel race?
I did the gravel race, and kind of a funny story with that. But yeah, like, what did you think of that course? I mean, you did it was the beginning of the Lifetime Grand Prix, and so that's you're a part of that. So you and a lot of others, 60-ish riders, I think, between the men and the women.
Yeah. Yep.
This was the beginning of the series, and it started with a 80K, 50-ish mile mountain bike cross-country race.
Yeah.
How many cross-country races have you done in the past, Ashton?
This was my first one. Yeah, no, that was my first ever mountain bike race, period.
Yeah. How'd you enjoy it? Did you like it?
I did. I really enjoyed it. I guess I didn't really have like a ton of expectations going in. Like, really my goal was like, don't crash, have fun, try to learn some stuff. I mean, like, I got to go pre-ride the course with Peter Setna and Ted King and a few other guys the day before, that we just kind of met up with randomly on the course. I remember I like came skidding into a corner, like way too hot. And, Pete was like 20 meters up the road, and I was like, oh God, that was embarrassing. And someone came up behind me and they were like, yeah, boy, that'd be really embarrassing. I hope no one saw that. And I turned around and it's Ted King. And I was just like, oh, cool. This is awesome. Like, yeah. And then like we caught up, and just kind of rode. And so that was fun to see and hang out with those guys again and learn, some mountain biking from them, and then get to do some like the actual race pace. But man, it was great. Like, it was such a good learning experience. Got to meet a lot of cool people, got to see a lot of stuff. And yeah, I mean, it was fun. Like, I think I think people see like, another pro trying something for the first time, and hope my goal is to inspire other people and be like, oh, well, I don't normally do this discipline, but like, maybe I will give it a shot. Like, I don't have to be a pro in this discipline to try it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was fun, man. I loved it. Like, the crowd was really supportive. The rest of the riders were really supportive. The course was great. The event was great. Like, yeah, it was super fun.
I think that's the kind of like the cool thing about this Lifetime Grand Prix is that you have someone like a Keegan Swenson, who is very mountain bike centric. And you have mountain bike courses, but then you also have gravel courses. And so you have a wide range of focuses, I guess, between the riders. And then so you have some riders like yourself trying something new, trying something fresh, something that they're not quite used to, but then you go into Unbound or, I don't know, what Big Sugar or something, and maybe that your strengths, your strengths will be better suited there. And then someone that's used to doing, I don't know, shorter cross country courses, they may not.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a huge variety of skills that you need to like excel at the whole series. Yeah, it's going to be like, I think someone who does well, not just at the beginning of the series, but at like Leadville and Crusher might, like a big long climbing race like that might not be the person who wins Unbound. And yeah, it is a very diverse set of races. Absolutely.
Yeah. You have some experience at Unbound, right? Didn't you win the 100?
I did. I won the 100 a few years ago, kind of when I was still training primarily for track. And then a few years before that, I got like 6th in the 200.
Okay.
Yeah, man, that was a long time ago.
So yeah, but you're no newbie to like the gravel thing, and I do want to talk about that. Before we get away from Sea Otter, though, you were riding a pretty cool hardtail. It was kind of a unique bike, was it not, or was it a prototype kind of thing?
It is. I'm working with Jason Gallagher at Affinity Cycles, so they normally make track bikes, but they made a stainless steel road bike that I've been on for the last couple of years called the Anthem. And so, this year came around and I needed a mountain bike. And so I talked to him, and he made me and my partner, Christina, a pair of titanium hardtails. So
no way.
I've got a call with him tomorrow, and we're going to post some more details. Well, I guess this podcast will probably be out after I do the post about it, but we'll post some more details about that bike in the next day or two.
It's
pretty sick, dude. It's super fun.
That's very cool. Like what a neat kind of amalgamation between what your loves and you doing different types of riding, and then this guy mainly, what was his name again? Jason, like mainly building track bikes, and now building you a mountain bike. I love that. I think that's such a cool story.
Yeah. I actually he makes some really, really nice track chain rings that I actually rode at World Championships. So they do I would say he does track stuff, but it's kind of more like fixie track stuff.
Okay.
But then he's kind of branching into the more like UCI elite level track stuff too, which is cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's fun. He's just super passionate about the sport, so he's awesome to work with.
Just on the bike theme here, and before we get away from Sea Otter, I think like I ran into you before the gravel race on Sunday, and I had brought a gravel bike to Sea Otter thinking I was going to do this gravel race, and gravel should have been in quotation marks because it was the exact same course that you rode on Saturday. Like there was no difference. The only difference was that they wanted, I didn't see any sort of note that said you had to ride a gravel bike. They just said, this is the gravel race. It's one loop instead of two loops. That's what I signed up for. I didn't really realize that, but when I went out on Friday, I think it was, on my gravel bike, I was like, whoa, I brought the incorrect bike to this, this town.
Dude, well, it's funny that you say that because, so like, I didn't know this, but the mountain bike race, I mean, I feel like it spread out super quickly where I was, I'd run into a couple people, every 10 minutes after about the first 30 or 40 minutes of the race. But I actually rode with a dude on a mountain or on a gravel bike for a while. And it was like, I might pass him on a downhill section and then he'd pass me on the uphill section or a flat. But yeah, he was like, oh, I'm just doing a couple loops to get ready for the gravel race tomorrow. And I was like, holy shit, dude. Like, but I mean, I was thinking the same thing, like seeing him on that. I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I could, make it like on a gravel bike. That's nuts, dude.
So my story was though, on Saturday, I think it was after the race, after all of you raced, I saw my friend Paige Peters, and she's doing the Grand Prix as well. And so I was talking to her. She's from Michigan, and I mentioned something about the gravel race and doing that course, and she was like, "Trevor, you cannot ride a gravel bike on that tomorrow. That's ridiculous." And I was like, "No,
I mean, you could. It's probably just not the best option."
Correct. Yeah, it could have worked.
Yeah.
It could have happened, but she said, why don't you take my bike and ride it tomorrow? And it was a full suspension cube, super lightweight cross country.
Ooh.
And I was like,
Yeah.
no, that's ridiculous. I'm not going to take your bike and break it or whatever. But she insisted. And so I ended up riding the gravel race that was on a mountain bike course, but on a mountain bike, not a gravel bike, if that makes sense.
And what did you think? So you did a lap of the course on a gravel bike and a mountain bike too, full sus.
Correct. Yep. I think that I feel like I was cheating riding a mountain bike when I was around a bunch of people on drop bars. I don't know.
Fair.
To me, I thought it was so much faster. I even thought like it, maybe because that bike was lightweight or something, that I didn't think any of the climbing would have been that much faster on a gravel bike. It was easy to stay up to like pace when it was flat enough. I could stay like over 20 miles an hour, not too bad. Yeah, I definitely think that I had the upper hand there on a mountain bike. But now that I'm thinking back on it, I'm like, man, now I feel like a wimp. Like I should have just did it, but whatever. I don't care.
I don't think so.
I'm
sure there were people on hardtails that said the same thing about people on full suspensions,
Oh yeah.
in the mountain bike race.
Absolutely. But I will say though, I know I had a better time. Like I was having a blast.
That's the point, man. That's the whole point.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, I just thought, the bike thing, it's such an interesting, I mean, I feel like there was a guy that rode in your race on had a front suspension, but drop bars. I can't remember his name, but I'm pretty sure someone raced it on drop bars, but maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of someone else, but
I saw someone next to me at the start on road pedals. I thought that was a bold move.
Wow.
As someone who rides road pedals on gravel all the time, like road pedals in a mountain bike race, I was like, well, yeah, I mean, probably not going to hike a bike for any of this, I guess that makes sense.
Did they put you through that like sand right away, like right off the track?
Oh yeah. I lost probably like 30 or 40 spots. I mean, again, first mountain bike race, first time ever doing a mountain bike race start. And I was just like very much not ready for it.
that's I was like, what is it was a weird start, but whatever. It was fun. It was a good time. So you are like really focusing on this Lifetime series and kind of more of a schedule of gravel and now mountain bike. It was funny. I wanted to ask you about like goals, because obviously you're a person of goals, and you set a goal last year to break. Was it the 4K individual pursuit, 4 minutes?
Yes, sir.
And you did. You're the only person in the world to do that.
Yeah.
So like obviously like you have goals. You work hard to get to those goals, and then with this Lifetime deal, or just even like a kind of a gravel calendar, like what kind of goals are you setting for the year? I mean, one thing you mentioned, which I love, like off the bat, is like inspiring people to kind of get out of their comfort zone. So just ride different races, or different pros can ride different races. It doesn't matter. But like, is that kind of like your goal, just to inspire stoke for cyclists, or what other kind of like, do you have any performance goals?
Not as much. Not really, to be honest. I mean, of course I want to go out there and race hard and do the best I can, but it's dependent on so many things that are out of my control, which is quite different from track. It's like track is like the most, like, you have control over pretty much every variable of an event. And especially like going and doing the 4 minute thing. It's like you have control over the day you do it, what time of day you do it, your tire pressure, the conditions to some extent, every part of it you have control over. And so, I mean, there are a lot of things that, when I did the Unbound 200, it's like I trained all year for it. And then it rains the night before, and I break my derailleur hanger like 5 miles in. And it's like, okay, well, obviously my goal was to win that race, but there's a lot of things out of my control that, like, sometimes mix up with that. And so I guess, for me, it's really like supporting the Grand Prix, trying to be a part of that, and giving back and being a part of the gravel community that's been really supportive, even though it wasn't my big priority for the last few years. Like, that's the community I grew up in, is racing gravel. And it's something I feel really passionate about. And so supporting a movement that I'm a big fan of like seeing gravel keeping to grow towards like having more pros involved in it and still keeping that grassroots feel, is like something I feel really passionate about, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. Do you see, like, I mean, you were talking about some differences like control and just there's a lot of differences that one can just like on paper. Track riding looks very different than almost everything else. And
oh my god, yeah.
But like, what kind of comparisons do you make, and what kind of like things do you see? Like, would you say that you are better prepared for some things because you ride track, or because you're experienced in that side? Do you see that helping your riding in other aspects, even Zwift? I mean, I can see that that comparison is pretty easy to see how those two things can help each other. But how is the track riding like helping everything else that you're doing?
Oh, I mean, I think having a sense of like what training for a big goal looks like. I think having done that for a few years on the track kind of gives you a sense of that, of like, oh, okay, here's a big goal I have. Maybe it's not going to happen this year, but teaches you to be a little bit more patient, and like break big goals down into smaller steps. But I think regardless of what discipline you come at, or regardless of what discipline you come from, if you go to a different one, like just having some years of being at the top of the sport, like makes you view any discipline or just cycling in general a little bit differently.
Do you think that there's a, you're talking about like the gravel community. What about like track racing community? Is that something that, that is, you see these like these small little pockets of it around the country, and if there's like a velo jam, if there's a velodrome, then it's big. But if there isn't, then it's hard for people to be involved in that. What's your take on, like, do you think that is something still vibrant in America, or do you wish that it was more vibrant being a part of it?
I think maybe just from my experience, but I feel like the UCI World Cup or Nations Cup circuit, that's like a pretty tight knit community, where I feel, like they're the people that you see, there's 6 races in the year. And so you go to these 6 races, or you go to 3 of them, and you see the same people like every few months for a couple of years. Like that's a pretty tight knit community. And I think there could be more of that in the US. I think it's hard because there just isn't that development there. Like there aren't a lot of local tracks. And it is a little bit more of a niche thing, unfortunately.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't, and it's tricky because, like, I don't know necessarily why that is. Like, there just aren't as many races because there aren't as many tracks, because there's not that much interest in it. And so it is a little bit more specialized equipment and like specialized venues than like a road race or something. Whereas you can just put up a road race because you live somewhere that has roads. But I think a lot of the local tracks do have like a pretty good tight knit community, which is awesome.
For sure. Like cycling already has a pretty big barrier to entry. I mean, you need a bike, you need time, you need fitness, you need whatever. But I'm just like super curious about it because I don't know a ton about the track community. What I've seen, like here in Michigan, the Lexus Velodrome is I feel like they're doing a lot. They're bringing people in. I've never ridden on it. Some of my friends have, but I've been there just to witness some of the racing, and it's a blast. It's an absolute blast just to be a spectator.
Yeah, and that's a great example. Like you're a cyclist. Like what stopped you from racing on the Lexus Velodrome? Like they presumably have rental bikes there and stuff, right?
Oh, they make it very easy, and it's super accessible. I think it might be fear, to be honest.
Reasonable. That's totally reasonable.
Yeah.
You go and you look at a track and it's like a wall, dude.
Yeah.
I get it.
And I haven't really rode fixie much. So there's a lot of variables talking about like unknown and control. Like I'm like, oh man, I'm going to get bucked off this thing and hurt myself. But it is something that I want to do and experience for sure. But what I do see though is, and I'm not sure if this is the way it is in most velodromes, but because they're usually around a bigger city, that I know that the Lexus Velodrome does a good job of really like reaching out to the youth in the area and making sure that barrier of entry for them to come experience the riding in the velodrome is really low. So I'm pretty sure that they give them time and bikes and things to come in and ride. So I think that is a super cool aspect of the velodrome, because a kid that maybe grows up in the middle of Detroit, it might be harder for them to ride outside and get any good road riding outside in the middle of Detroit. But
oh my God, absolutely. Like I think that's something. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. But going to the velodrome, I mean, speaking of like safety and all that, I mean, that's something that they can do a lot easier. So yeah, that's something I see happening just from the outside. And I think it's a super cool aspect of the track thing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what I would think too. If I was a parent and, it's like, do you want your kid to go ride around, a city with cars and unknown streets in the weather, or do you want to just drop them like, okay, here's a closed track that you can go ride around however fast you want. Like someone's watching you, you're within eyesight of all times. Like, dude, that seems like a pretty easy setup.
Yeah, no kidding. Do you have, talking about goals, do you have future goals on the track? Are you kind of putting that aside for now, or is there like another season coming up that you're going to jump back onto focus on that when that comes around?
I mean, I'm pretty much putting it on pause for now. I don't really have any active plans, but we'll see what happens.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm having fun with what I'm doing now, and that's my main goal.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's cool. That's great.
I mean, I kind of did everything I wanted to do.
And few people can say that. So I think that's a pretty incredible. Do you feel like, do you get these questions, and do you feel like people are kind of pigeonholing you into one type of cycling, and so this is why you've wanted to branch out, or you just want to branch out because you yourself are want to experience other things?
I mean, I think I've been lucky to get to do the kind of cycling that I have a lot of fun with, and do things that I'm passionate about and what I'm excited about. And I think that comes across. I mean, I hope my goal is that comes across, and like, I want to encourage other people to do what they're having fun with. And sometimes it works out that like, you're also really good at that. And even if it doesn't, that's okay. Like, you're still having fun with it. And that's the point of riding bikes. Like, if it's not fun, and you're not enjoying it, like, I don't know, try something else. Maybe it's just not for you. Not to say that like every day is going to be a blast. Like, there is something to be said about the, like, suffering through a hard training session, but like, that's, type 2 fun. It's fun when you're done.
Yeah. How many times have you heard the joke, oh, are you not used to turning right? Do people say that a lot to you?
Not as much as the one where people are like, oh, you'd go so much faster if you shave your mustache.
Speaking of mustache, I was going to ask you at the beginning of this whole thing, but have you read, this is a terrible question, but have you
boy. Wow.
Have you read your Wikipedia?
I mean, not in a while. What's it say?
It's not crazy, but one, it's like, I feel like whoever wrote it, they must have gotten charged per word because it's very short, unfortunately. That's
fair.
But it says, Ashton Lambie is an American track cyclist known for being the first person to complete an individual pursuit in under 4 minutes, and for his mustache, period.
Great. Perfect. I mean, the mustache does have a name and has its own meme page.
Yes.
That I don't run it. I don't know who runs that page, but they do a great job. It's funny. It cracks me up.
Wait, what is the name? I think I follow the Instagram.
The mustache's name is Gerald. It was actually in my contract with Gooder, the sunglass brand I work with.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a contest and named it, and they have exclusive rights to name my mustache.
It
was kind of a joke, but it kind of stuck with it. And I think it's hilarious.
No, it's very funny. Kind of as an aside, my wife and I have this running joke about, we were at Mid-South, and it was like everybody there was a white dude with a mustache. And so our joke was it's
definitely gotten more popular. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you've had you've been rocking the mustache for a while now, right?
A decade, dude.
Okay. So yeah, you have room to talk, but yeah, like, so we're like, I don't know, what did he look like? I don't know. He's a white guy with a mustache. Like, just,
not a good descriptor.
Nope. But no, your mustache is pretty fantastic. And honestly, like, in the Lifetime Grand Prix now, you're just one of several, I feel like. I feel like it's going to be like a race of the mustaches. Mustache. I don't know what plural of mustaches.
We'll just say mustaches. Yeah.
Okay. So you finished the Sea Otter 80K Fuego, is that what it was? Something like that.
Yeah, the Fuego.
Now, looking at the rest of the season, which race are you most looking forward to, and which are you most hesitant about?
Ooh, I mean, I feel like I'm pretty excited about Unbound and Big Sugar.
Okay.
Yeah, I think like I love unbacked. Like I think it's one of my favorite places to ride. Um, like I love Emporia. I love all the people. I'm super excited for it. Um, yeah, it's just such a fun race, and it's one like I've always really enjoyed. I am excited for Big Sugar. Me and Christina we did a training camp in Bentonville, like during her spring break,
Okay.
and had a blast. And so I was like, I'm really excited to go back to Bentonville. I think I love the 100-mile gravel race distance. I think that's like a bit more of a raceable distance, where I think like 200 miles is really kind of a race of attrition and like hoping nothing goes wrong. To some extent, I mean, you still have to race it, but like there's a lot of things that can go wrong over a long period of time that make it so that like you're just out of the running. So those are the two I'm really excited about. I feel like the one I'm probably not excited about would be Leadville. Just cause like shit, man, it's a lot of climbing and I am not a climber.
And it's like at elevation too, which it's
definitely at elevation, and Houston is basically a swamp. So we're at like negative elevation. I think I'm sure it was a glitch on my Garmin, but I think my low elevation for a ride I did yesterday was like negative 45 feet. I was like, oh yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, that actually your answers to that were pretty much what I expected. Although I wasn't sure if what you're looking forward to and what you were hesitant about, or maybe like not worried. I don't think that's the right word, but I thought maybe maybe be the same thing, like coming into it with a little bit of like, oh man, this is going to be rough, but also looking forward to it as well. You know what? An oddball in that whole thing is Schwamigan. I feel like that's it's going to be like a fast rip,
I don't know very much about it. I'm kind of thinking it's going to be similar to Sea Otter.
I think so. There's a lot of similarities between Schwamigan and Iceman, which is held in Michigan, and it's not like super technical. It's usually pretty fast. So it's just interesting that that'll be in there. I know like Cole Patton has won it in the past. Alexi's won it in the past. So there's people that know what they're doing for sure.
Well, it's funny because people have told me like that Sea Otter wasn't very technical. They're like, oh yeah, it's not a very technical course. And I was like, if that's not very technical, like I don't know if I want to know what technical is. That's good. That's a good level of difficulty for me.
I thought the same thing. And like the second half of the loop, it got rocky. There were some good rocky chunky sections, which I was super glad to have the full suspension, but yeah, for sure. Hey, talk about real quick. You're riding that Lauf, right? They just released that for your gravel races.
Yeah, the new Cycla.
Yeah, tell us about it a little bit.
So I mean, it's basically I would say like a monster cross like gravel bike.
Okay.
So there's a lot of tiny considerations where like you don't see a ton of drop bar 29ers that don't have some level of compromise, right? Where it's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, we put a regular road shell or road bottom bracket shell on it, but it's got crazy long chain stays. Or like, oh, well, this is, a normal mountain bike shell or road shell, but the reach is really long, or like we had to do a really tall head tube or something, or it's suspension corrected. And so I think this kind of hits like that really good sweet spot where it's like, yes, this is like a fast gravel bike geometry. And it has a standard 73 millimeter bottom bracket shell. It has standard spacing, it's not boost spacing or anything weird like that. and you can clear up to a 57 mil or a 2.25 tire. Like,
wow.
It is just a super capable bike, and it has like the geometry is exactly the same as the True Grit. It's like 3 millimeters taller stack, like hardly any changes. The seat stay length is the same, or not seat stay. Sorry, the chain stay.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, yeah, who else is doing like a nice responsive bike that doesn't feel like a touring bike? That's a gravel 29er, you know, like, I'm super excited about it. I think there's a lot of small like considerations that have been made that might, like, a lot of people might just be like, oh yeah, it's a True Grit with wider clearance, which essentially it is. But the fact that it is that without also changing a bunch of other things is like pretty mind blowing to me. And it also adds extra compliance in the back. So it's like 4 mils more than truck checkpoint.
Okay.
Which is kind of what they were looking at their benchmark for. So by doing the dropped seat stays, it gives it a little bit more compliance in the back without having any moving parts, any bushings, anything to break, which is like the whole idea behind Lauf. It's like, let's get the ride quality that we want with like the simplest solution possible. Because like, if you have fewer parts to break, you have fewer things to maintain, fewer things to replace, fewer things to break. Just like the simplest solution is usually the best one.
So are you going to ride that for Unbound and Big Sugar? Or are you going to ride the True Grit? Okay. So you are going to ride it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. But then what it does give you is like a huge range of choices then, because you could go big with the tires, or you could probably
100%.
go like a 40 or a 43 or whatever. I don't know what everyone's saying Unbound should be. Maybe mid 40s. Is that what people are riding now? Like 43? Didn't Boswell win it on a 43 last year?
That sounds about right. Yeah. I've been working with Vittoria on some new tires around that width, so hopefully those will be available around then. Nice. Yeah, I feel like I need to do some testing on that. But there's, I mean, it just opens up a lot of different tire options, you know? For sure.
Cool. And they just released that, right? I mean, wasn't that like around a Sea Otter release or like right after that?
It was the day after they weren't at Sea Otter, so it was the day after. Okay. I actually, today I'm going to go out for my first ride on it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I had to get some new end caps for the zips because they're old. The True Grit used 15 by 100 mil end caps. And this one, which was standard, like most wheel manufacturers make that as an option. It's probably not the default option for gravel bikes. And so the new Cycla is 12 by 100. So a little bit more standard.
Yep. Very cool.
Yeah.
I think that's all I wanted to pick your brain about. Although you probably have a lot of, I see that you're like a busy guy. Like I feel like you have a gravel conversation later tonight, right? With the jukebox crew.
Next week. I think. Okay. I hope. Yeah. Yeah. 1 week from today.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh gosh. You made me panic too.
Sorry, that wasn't intentional, but yeah, man. I mean, I loved running into you and being able to chat with you over at Sea Otter, and you've definitely been someone that I've been following along in the last few years, and now I think it's just super fun that you're doing this Lifetime thing. So thanks for chatting, and like best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thanks for having me on the pod.
For sure.
Yeah, thanks.
Really appreciate it.
The Dirty Chain Podcast is a Michigan Midpack Media production in partnership with KOM Cycling, the source for your bike accessories and necessities. Connect with us on Instagram and Facebook at Dirty Chain Podcast. Email dirtychainpodcast@gmail.com. If you are enjoying the podcast, please leave us a rating and review on whatever platform you use to listen. Audio editing and original music by myself, Trevor Gibney. And a huge thank you to Ashton for joining us on this episode. And thank you all for listening to the Dirty Chain Podcast. And as always, keep your chain clean, but get your chain dirty. We will see you in the Midpack.